what are your options during a foreclosure? We're going to step through some of the common questions that get asked and kind of what to do if you're in a foreclosure. Okay, so here we go. What to do if you're in a foreclosure? Always be proactive. You know, if you see it coming, talk to a bankruptcy lawyer. I'm not saying you need to file bankruptcy. I'm just saying go ahead and get everything rolling so that you're not back up against the wall when the foreclosure sale is pending the next day. Just make sure that you're, getting that stuff done. Look at loan modifications, get that stuff going, but do everything at once, because I said this before, sometimes loan modifications take 6 to 8 months, and they don't stop the foreclosure process while you're going through a loan modification. So I've had people in loan modifications getting foreclosed upon and then having to come to us because the foreclosure was imminent. And they thought they could ignore those documents because they were talking to the bank, but don't. If you want to try loan modification, rock on, go ahead and talk to a bankruptcy attorney and get everything in a row. So just be proactive, take every option you can and apply it immediately. Don't try to do one and the next, if that makes any sense. Can you sell your home before or during a foreclosure? Yes, you can. Most people don't want to. Most people want to stay in their home, but it is your home. Now, of course, there are going to be records of the foreclosure and the payments, and they're going to take the amount of money that is available from the sale, and they're going to pay off the bank first. Here's where you kind of get in a pinch. Sometimes they have stacked up so many fees and costs and late fees that you end up owing too much money on the house. I have seen somebody who had lived in a house for 15 years, paid every payment for 15 years, husband got sick, and then they were a one-income household, and they were behind on the house. And after paying for the house for 15 years, by the time they were a year behind on the house, and by the time the bank had stacked all the fees and everything on top of it, they owed what they paid for the house. So that happens, so be aware of that. So once again, a reason to be proactive and move fast. Try to get it done before too many fees and costs get stacked up. How long after a foreclosure can you buy a house? Well, that's a credit question, right? And it's about banks and everything else. Typically, stuff's going to stay on your credit for about 7 years. Interestingly enough, another thing that happens in bankruptcy is if you file bankruptcy, all negative things must be removed from your credit, and people's credit scores typically go up by about, I think the statistic is 6 months after they file, the average person's score goes up about 90 or 95 points. So there's a chance that you could possibly buy a house sooner inside of bankruptcy than out. But that's basically, it's going to be based on credit, and it's going to be based on how well you rebuild your credit after this happens. And we have a video on that as well. So if you want to watch about how to rebuild your credit, we can help you out there. Can you stay in your house in a foreclosure? Yes, you can. It's your house. It's your house until it gets foreclosed upon and they transfer the deed to someone else. So it is your house. You can stay in it. There's no issues there. So at least know that until that sale date comes, you're going to get it. And I've had this happen before too, where the people continue to stay. After the foreclosure sale, there's going to be a deed transferring the house to a new person. Then if you continue to stay, that person who buys the house will need to evict you from the house, and you'll have to go through the eviction process. But I wouldn't advise that. I would advise you to proactively find a place to go or talk to an attorney and try to stop the foreclosure with a bankruptcy. How to save your credit after foreclosure, like I talked about before, we have a video on that, and we can show you kind of how to rebuild after all this happens. And another bonus is, like I said, in a bankruptcy situation, it does wipe out all your negative credit history prior to the bankruptcy, so that is beneficial. Can you purchase a home with a foreclosure on your credit? Yes, you can. It is more difficult, but you can. Like I said, it's going to depend on your credit score and what you've done since it's happened and how well you build it up and use your credit. And so, once again, we'll have a video on that to help you out there. You can do it. It is possible. Banks are a little more questionable and they're a little more difficult to deal with, which, they're kind of always difficult to deal with. But that is possible. It can be done. And you may just have to find the right bank. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. And as always, like and subscribe, and thanks.